Yo, what is going on? It's your boy, a newest game archer here. Hope you're all feeling good, looking, and smelling good, and welcome to the channel. On today's video, I want to talk about Valorant. I know, that's weird, right? Like, how many people who watch my channel, like, throughout the years of me being on social media and on, YouTube, especially, because I've been on YouTube longer than I've been on Twitch. People who've been following me, ever since Siege came out, let's go with that. How many people would think that I would make a Valorant video and talk about Valorant? This has got to be a negative video, right? Like, if someone's going to talk about Valorant who doesn't play Valorant, it got to be negative. Because I feel like generally when people talk about games they don't normally play, it becomes like a negative video. Which I will assure you, all those Valorant players out there, this video is not one of those videos. It's not someone who comes from another community or another genre who's going to insult your game that you play. Actually, Valorant interests me. I've been playing Siege for 7 years, and we're gonna jump back and forth between some Siege gameplay and some Valorant gameplay in this video. And I've been very good at Siege basically my entire time playing it. Everyone has bad games here and there, but for the most part, I have been a very good Siege player. I've been a very big brain Siege player. So it wasn't like I was just like, someone who's good at fragging out, but I was also, someone who's very intelligent when it came to just the way the game was played and my knowledge of the game. When I play with friends, I was the one who, my friends were like, hey, who should we pick here? Where should we go? I can't kind of became an IGL for when it came to like playing with my friends. And then I eventually started playing solo because I felt like I could learn more if I got out of that comfort zone of relying on, not once relying on, but like playing with other people. Because if you play with other people in any video game, there's a level of comfort there. You're more relaxed. You can, if you know your friends are good, you don't worry about what they're doing. If you play solo, that all changes. You can't rely on anyone. You have to rely on yourself. You don't know how good the other people in your teams are going to be. You're not comfortable at all. You're very hesitant. You're very anxious. But it's when you first start doing solo queues. When you use solo queue, all that goes out. You're no longer ancient or anything like that. Ancient. You're no longer anxious. But when you first start doing solo queues in a game, like you're trying to focus that on yourself and focus on not messing up. Because if you mess up, especially if you're a solo queue, if you mess up, everyone blames you. Even if someone else is doing worse than you in a game, if they play with their friends, if you're like a solo queue and it's like a 4-stack, or solo queue and it's 3-stack, those people are focused on what the solo queues are doing wrong, and your one death to their 5 deaths, is way worse than your one death. It's just how it works. So as a Siege player getting into Valorant, and I want before I get into Valorant, I want to talk about why I stopped playing Siege. I played Siege for 7 years, ever since literally the beta, the PC beta. Forgot when that came out, but from then till a few months ago, I've played Siege. I've taken breaks from Siege. I've got back into Siege. Because I like taking breaks. I like to take breaks from games just so my brain can relax, especially if it's games that require me to be very serious and focus on a lot going on. This isn't like a negative about Siege, but eventually you kind of just get tired of a gameplay loop. And I don't say tired as in like you don't want to play it anymore, but you kind of feel like you want something new. You want to try something new. If you're good at a game, especially for the way I feel, if you're good at a game, you eventually want to test yourself. Like, it's comfortable playing a game that you know you're good at. It's comfortable playing a game where you know the call outs, you know the angles, you know what to do, you know who to pick, you know how to set up, you know how to play the game. You're comfortable. I like to challenge myself. And you can't challenge yourself by playing the exact same game you already know you're good at. I like to eventually just move on. I'm very good at Halo. Want to play something else. Very good at Gears of War. Want to play something else. I still go back to those games here and there, but the general thought process is, once you get good at something, sure, keep playing it, because it's what you know, but also challenge yourself. So I switched from Siege to Valorant to challenge myself. I also switched to Valorant because I don't have a lot of PC friends, and most of my PC friends play Valorant. When I play Siege on PC, I play solo. I went from console Siege, where I play with friends, to PC Siege, where I played solo. And then, I noticed, some friends of mine, they play Valorant. I was like, hey, I don't really play any PC games with my friends who have PCs. Maybe I'll try Valorant out. Valorant looks interesting. It kind of has like a CSGO kind of style to it. I'm not really a fan of the visuals of it, but maybe it's actually a good game. I know how to play Siege. I know how to play Rogue Company. Rogue Company's a game I also played on PC, very similar to Valorant. So I know how to play this style of game. I know how to get into this style of mindset when it comes to kind of game. Maybe it'd be pretty good. So I had all the reasons to give Valorant a try, but I also had all the reasons to not give Valorant a try. So when it came to the negatives of getting into Valorant, there was like some fears. Like I kept hearing about how toxic the Valorant community was, and before anyone already goes to the comment sections and starts telling me it's not that bad, things like that, I'm not going to like go into like a deep dive on talk about Valorant's toxicity. Mostly because every game has toxic players. It doesn't matter where you go. I came from R6. R6 has a very toxic community, but there's also people in R6 who are very nice, who are very cool and good people. I come from Halo. Halo has some assholes, some pure assholes. But there's also people in Halo community who are pretty nice. Gears of War, same thing. Call of Duty, same thing. Every shooter, every community in video games that has a multiplayer community has bad apples. It's not just one game, and we have to get away from that. I mentioned before when it came to my Elden Ring videos that people talk shit about the Dark Souls community and the Souls community as a whole, and say like all they do is tell you good and all this stuff. It's like there's some assholes in every community, but not everyone is like that. So Valorant isn't like that. My very first game, Valorant, which is the gameplay you're going to be seeing, I didn't deal with any negativity. There was one person who made a comment. It wasn't like a negative comment. It was like he was saying, we're like, I had the spike. First of all, I didn't even know I had it. I'll tell you right now. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how to play the game. I don't know how anything in the game works. I don't know any of the game's calls, nothing like that. Like I just don't know anything. All I know how to do is just point and click. And like, so we're in a situation. He's telling me, hey, you need to go plant. You need to go plant. And I didn't. And it wasn't anything negative. He just like saying it. Then I got like the last 2 kills. He's like, no, never mind. You know what you're doing. That was like his exact response. He's like, never mind. Like, never mind. You know what you're doing. That was his exact response to me. And so I've only played 2 games of Valorant at the time of recording this video, and I haven't dealt with any negativity yet. No, I played 3 games. I played 3 games of Valorant recording this video. And I haven't had dealt with any negativity yet. That doesn't mean I'm never going to, but I just always, there was that thought process in my head, like I want to get into this game, and maybe the people who play the game aren't as open to new players as some other games are, because a lot of games that I play actually have a very good barrier of entry. Barrier entry, from what I mean, is getting into is very simple because people are very open to helping you out. There's people who will definitely guide you in the right directions, give you advice if you need advice. You can go to streams and like, hey, who should be the first person to pick and Siege? Be like, hey, you should focus on playing support roles so you get used to, the maps, to get used to the game's mechanics. You should play, Thermite and Thatcher. You should play Doc and Rook and, people like that. Like, they'll guide you into the right direction. Unfortunately for me, though, Valorant's barrier of entry isn't very good. Now, this is a good game. Not Valorant. Well, Valorant is, so far, it's been pretty good. But the gameplay you're watching is me having a good game. Like I said before, I don't know what I'm doing. I just know how to point and click. So I was able to get things done because I point and clicked quicker than the other people were able to point and click. It's just that simple. I didn't do good in this game because I'm good at Valorant. I didn't do good in this game because I know what I'm doing. I did good in this game because at the end of the day, when it comes to playing a shooter, all you really need to know how to do is point and click. And when I say Valorant has a bad barrier of entry, what I mean by that is there is no game mode in Valorant that's noob friendly. There's no game mode in Valorant that allows you to learn the game at a real player pace. What I mean by a real player pace is playing against other players who are new to the game like you are, or in a skill bracket as you, or a level bracket as you. Back to Rainbow Six. Again, I'm going to keep going back to Rainbow Six. There's a game mode called, what was it? The new cruise? I forgot what it was called. Basically, there's a game mode in Rainbow Six where people who are level 1 to 50 can all play against each other. 50 being the rank of which you're allowed to play, you're allowed to play ranked game modes. You can't play ranked in Siege to hit level 50. So there's the new recruit playlist allows people who are level 1 and people who between level 1 and 50 to all play in the same lobbies together. It's basically you're all new players. It allows people who are new to the game to learn at the same pace as other people who are new to the game. Yes, you can be level 1 and play against level 20, but that skill gap is not that very big between level 1 and level 20 in Siege. I don't know how levels work in Valorant, so it could be smaller than that. Um, but we have a game mode like that, a game mode where all the noobs are playing against each other. It allows for people to learn the game together and learn how each characters work together. There's none of that in Valorant. You don't really learn Valorant. Like, yes, there's a practice mode. Yes, there's like the bot shooting thing, but I'll say this about bots. You don't really learn a lot shooting bots because they're bots. Yeah, it'll help with your aim a little bit, but you don't really learn a lot shooting bots in any video game because bots aren't humans. Bots don't behave the same way humans react. Bots don't have the same skills that humans have. Bots don't have the same negatives that human has. And it's something that I also applied to like Siege. In Siege, there's a game mode called Terrorist Hunt. And NT Hunt, as we like to call it, to avoid the big T word. You're playing against bots the entire time, and they don't have a realistic movement. And what some people tell you if you do bad at Siege is just go play T Hunt and keep working your aim. That's not good advice, because sure, you're gonna like be able to like get your aim speed up and things like that, but you're not playing against people who are gonna have realistic movement. They're not gonna come at you in T Hunt the same way someone's gonna come at you if you're actually playing a game of ranked or playing a game of casual or playing a game in the event playlist. And apply the same thing here in Valorant. Sure, you can go shoot bots to get your aim, tuned, but those bots don't move like a human does. So Valorant to me needs a game mode for new players to go into and learn with other new players. I would also say Valorant is a game mode. Valorant doesn't have a lot of game modes. I was looking at the game modes that they have, and there's a decent selection of what you could do, but it's not a lot. And other than having a new player game mode, I would say Valorant needs to, I guess, kind of, I don't want to say tune, like have a casual mode where it's tuned to like ranks, because if you have skills matchmaking in casual, people get mad. Rank is supposed to be your skill-based matchmaking game mode, so I don't want to say have a skill-based matchmaking for a casual game mode, but I just feel like there needs to be other ways other than go shoot bots to like get better at Valorant or to learn Valorant, because at the end of the day, you need to learn the game, and it doesn't matter how many times I've played Rogue Company or how many times I've played Siege or games to those games. Every game has different lingo, and the lingo is the real key to getting good, in my opinion. I've always said this about Siege. Siege is like 80% mental, and the rest is gun skill. Because the mentals of Siege is how you play Siege. You can be a player who goes 2-4 most games or 2-6 most games, but you're winning most games because you're intelligent. Like, you're a support player, you're not fragging out, but you're getting things done that provide victory for your team, because the mentals of it is better than just going out there and go shoot stuff. There's people who play Siege who get 10 kills a game but lose most of their games. And I don't know if that works for the same way in Valorant. There's people in Valorant who always do good in games but they always lose. Probably, this is just a very probable thing. So the mentals of Valorant is likely very, very needed. I have watched some videos for Valorant, and ones that I've watched all seem like it's the mental game that these coaches, air quotes, are trying to teach people on YouTube. When you peek this, when you throw your abilities, things like that. But for a new player, the lingo isn't there. So if someone doesn't have the lingo, and they can put to a lot of people who do the lingo, in that there's that communication barrier. I had a game, my third game, where that's my second game. Someone had typed in chat who used this something. I don't remember what it was, and I didn't know what he was talking about. Couldn't answer him to say it was me. I couldn't answer him to say it was somebody else. I couldn't answer period because I don't know what he's talking about. If I don't know the game's lingo, I can't respond to anything. I'm playing solo, even though I downloaded this game to play with friends. We all have different schedules. I have a friend who plays Valorant. She lives in like California. I live on the East Coast. There's that time gap. I have a friend who he lives closer towards me, but he's still an hour behind me as well. He works a lot, so again, like, there's this. I'm not really getting a lot of time to be able to play with friends who could teach me the lingo of Valorant. And you can't really learn that lingo a lot from watching streams, because they're already there. They're not speaking in a way of explaining things, speaking in a way of that people already know what's going on. So I don't know the call outs. I don't know, where to go. I mean, I had a game of Valorant Yeah, I've only played 3 games so far. Where I'm just like, where do I even go? Like I'm just wandering around, like where do I go? Do I follow, there's 3 people going to the right. Do I follow those 3 going to the right? I follow this one person who's going to the left. Where do I go? What do I do? What do people need me to do? What do people want me to do? Because when I tell people who will get into Siege, what you should do as a new player to Siege is just play support and go where your team needs you. And that relies on your teammates to communicate with you to figure that out. Those 3 games I play in Valorant, other than that one guy saying, hey, you should go do this, and there's no one else doing calls to those any of those games. And the person who, as well as the person who's like who used something that I didn't know what he was talking about, I don't know what the lingo is of the game. So how do you fix like all of that though? How do you fix the lingo situation and things like that? That basically just relies on the community, being commutative in those casual modes, deathmatch or the reflection little game mode. It relies on people who know how to play the game, seeing that someone's new, and being like, hey, if you want, we can squad up together and I can teach you how to play the game or explain things to you. Valorant is a game that I think is good. I enjoyed when I did play a Valorant. I don't know if I'll play it a lot because there's other games that I play. Like I said, I'm a variety streamer on Twitch. I'm a variety streamer I'm a variety content creator when it comes to YouTube. I'm a variety gamer. I play so many different games and so many different genres that there isn't one game that I want to play a lot of. But every now and then I do want to play Valorant, and it'll be nice to at least know what I'm doing and what people's calls. Because the worst thing to me when it comes to playing any video game, or especially shooters, is not knowing what the calls are. That's the big thing to me. I don't care about the outcome. I don't care about performance. What I care about is at the very least know what's going on. At the very least know what those callouts are. If I'm playing Siege and someone dies and they're like, hey, I just got shot by a Thatcher to your right, and look from right and there's no one right there, like that's not a good call out. Now someone goes, hey, I'm down, Thatcher's a jacuzzi wall. Someone says that, I know exactly what they're talking about because I know the call. Someone goes, I'm down, Thatcher's jacuzzi wall. We're playing on Clubhouse. I know where jacuzzi wall is. So I know exactly where Thatcher is. I know that even though that's a very short call out, I know the potential is Thatcher's either like he's just sitting next to that wall and peeking into the hallway, or he's now proceeded to walking into the hallway or going towards gym. So I know at the very least, potentially he might be on the left side towards gym, but he might be in the hallway, or potentially he's just just watching it in angle. Calls matter. So if you're playing Valorant and someone's saying things, I don't know what that means. Such as someone's like mentioning names. Someone's like, hey, Reyna's is over here or whatever. Who's Reyna? I know who Reyna is now, but like just an example. Like if I don't know the agent name, there's so much there, and I just wish that Valorant as a whole made it a little easier for new players to get into Valorant. Because that barrier of entry is going to dig to people sticking with it. And yes, it does have toxic players. I've seen the videos. I've seen friends' live streams. I've seen all of it. I've heard people tell me about Valorant. It doesn't mean everyone's an asshole. So hopefully, those non-assholes are open to help us new players out. With all that said, being boy, newest the gamer Archer. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Y'all be safe. Be constant one another. Catch you in my live stream. Link type in the description box below. Been a new Mr. Gamer Archer. Deuces.